The author of this fanfiction name is YoungHopeProductions. He works on Wattpad.com and the link is in the description to the stories.
A boy with spiky black hair, lightning bolt-shaped marks on each cheek and heterochromic eyes, one a brown and the other a grayish. Blue is in Pallet Town is watching a match with Anita Reno and Jengar, with the boy bouncing excitedly. A lamp and a few other items were floating oddly as the child got more excited. Ash! A female voice yelled, which caused the items to fall down, some breaking as the boy, Ash, covered his ears. "Look at the mess you made, you little brat!" Delia yelled, Ash clearly frightened. I am sorry, Mom," Ash cried, but that didn't stop Delia from slapping the boy. It wasn't always like this. You see, Delia Ketchum was a kind woman and a wonderful mother once upon a time, even when her spouse let her to go on a Pokemon journey, she stayed strong, for her son and for herself. However, she noticed something strange with her son. He didn't talk. He was 2 years old. Normally, 2-year-olds would speak, even if would be short sentences or one word at a time. She did, however, noticed her son's increasing intellect on English, Japanese, mathematics, and Pokemon. Ash always communicated with writing. Delia was at least happy Ash has a way to communicate. He especially was most fond about learning about Pokemon, always reading books about Pokemon food, types, moves, and other Pokemon facts. One day, she finds a flyer advertising Professor Oak's Pokemon Summer Camp, and knowing his boy's love of Pokemon, she asked him if he wanted to go. Ash was obviously very happy, writing yes at least 20 times on his notebook. Delia was so happy his little boy wanted to open up. Before learning about the camp, Delia and Ash met Professor Oak a long time ago, since the Pokemon professor babysat for him a few times. Ash was very close to the man, as if he was family. Professor Oak had also noticed the boy's intelligence, so he tutors Ash about Pokemon quite often. Ash was quite a fast learner when it comes to Pokemon. When the professor heard that Ash signed up for his summer camp, he was thrilled, but they had to wait for the next one. Since Delia slept in and Ash had made failed attempts to wake her up, but at least the camps don't last long. The summer camp was over. Ash has made some improvements. He was speaking. Professor Oak said he even made friends. A boy and girl. However, some of the kids bullied Ash for acting odd. The bullying didn't stop, however. Ash was constantly harassed by a lot of kids in Pallet Town, especially by Gary Oak, Professor Oak's grandson. A few weeks, Delia has decided to take Ash to a child psychiatrist. They learned Ash has autism spectrum disorder, or autism, specifically on the Asperger's side. What made it stranger is that Ash even had psychic powers, as was learned when Ash was trying to get a book and it floated and into Ash's tiny hands. That was 3 months the last time Ash came home with bruises from the bullies. Those months, Delia has become more stressed and starts to drink. One time, she downed a rather large amount of bourbon. Little Ash was getting worried. He read that too much alcohol can ruin your liver and kill brain cells. Ash warned his mother, but in her drunken state, she got mad and smacked him across the face. This clearly startled Ash, as Delia had never hit him, except smacking his shoulder by accident to get a bug away. It went downhill from there. He's been getting hurt more by his mom and his bullies. That incident was 2 weeks ago. He never told anyone about his mom, he cared about her, and even if he tried, it most likely wouldn't have made a difference. Delia had a knack for putting up a lovely facade of being the perfect mother and next-door neighbor. Now Ash is almost 10, he learned to control his powers mostly, however, when he's really scared, they can sometimes go out of whack. However, he always makes sure to practice every day, as Professor Oak said, practice makes perfect. Not too long ago, Professor Oak has found a strange book that was completely blank inside, but when Ash holds it, words appear. In the description, it said only those that wield aura can see the book and let others see it, so he made sure to train even harder with his aura and psychic powers. Yes, Ash was extraordinary. He's psychic, intelligent, and on top of that, he's Professor Oak's star pupil and had graduated to being junior professor. Even some of the bullies let Ash alone, however, Gary didn't. Tomorrow was the day. Tomorrow, Ash becomes a Pokemon trainer. End of chapter 1. Today was the day. The day Ash becomes a Pokemon trainer. He woke up at 6:45 a.m., did some training until 7:50 a.m., got dressed in an outfit that Professor Oak gave him yesterday, and sneaking out, while he snuck a piece of toast for breakfast. He arrived at Professor Oak's lab, seeing Gary and 2 others at the lab to get their Pokemon. Didn't think you'd make it here, Ashy boy, Gary taunted the other 2, snickering solely. Ash just ignored them and walked inside, the others following suit. Professor Oak see them and says, I know there's 4 of you, but don't worry. Ash, I have a special Pokemon for you. Yeah right, I doubt you mean the good kind of special. Gary snickered. Are making that comment, the other 2 just looked at him with a you went overboard look. Gary, one more comment of that sort and you don't get a Pokemon, Professor Oak said coldly, which made Gary gulp nervously. Why yes, Gramps, Gary answered nervously, knowing it's not a good idea to tickle his grandfather. Good, anyways, you 3 may pick your Pokemon. The 3 picks their Pokemon. Now I know you 3 are very anxious to leave and start your journey, but please stay for a little while longer. Oak had said. The 3 look at each other confused. Now Ash, the Pokemon I have for you is an expert in being a therapy Pokemon, and I think you'll be very happy with it, Oak said with a smile, handing Ash a Pokeball. Ash opens it and it reveals a shiny Piku. Whoa, a shiny Piku, Ash exclaimed, Professor Oak nodding with a smile. And I want you to have these. Oak hands Ash a Pokemon egg. The other 3, especially Gary, look jealous. Wow, are you sure about this, Professor? Ash asked. Oak replied with, I'm positive, consider it a special GI. Thank you, Professor. Ash said. Oak smiles warmly and hands the 4 their Pokédexes and a bag of Pokeballs, containing 30 of the capsules. Here are your Pokédexes. And some Pokeballs, Oak said. Gary shook his look of jealousy and said, yeah, smell ya later, Gramps, my fan club is waiting outside. The other 2 leaving as well. Ash, Oak said, the boy looking at him with confusion. You're probably wondering why your Piku is shiny, right, Ash nods. Do you remember when you found out about your aura abilities? I did. More research, and about 25% of aura users are likely to have all of the Pokemon they obtain become shiny. Oak answered. Ash asks, my aura makes them shiny? Oak replies, yes, it does, it's rare enough to find aura users, but for their Pokemon to turn shiny, it's extraordinary. Granted, Piku was already shiny to begin with, however, you needed to know that condition of yours. But that can lead to you being a target. Ash, promise me you be very careful and train hard. Ash pauses and replies, I promise, Professor Oak. I'll do my best to make you proud. Oak pats Ash on the head and replies, I know you will, my boy. Now, if you ever need anything, let me know. You can call me at any time. Ash then heads with a final goodbye. Ash turns to his new Pokemon and says, okay Piku, you should get in your Pokeball. Piku shakes his head hard. Oh, you don't like your Pokeball? That's okay, you can be on my shoulder or walk with me. Ash replied, the Piku nodding happily. They head right into Route 1 and Ash pulls out an apple out of a nearby tree and splits it in half with his telekinesis, handing one half to Piku. Want a snack? Ash asks. The Piku replies, yes. And noms in it? Ash smiles, I'm glad I can understand you. Ash said. The Piku replies, so the professor didn't lie. You can understand Pokemon. Ash smiles and eats his half of the apple. The two bonded rather quickly, even caught some Pokemon, a Caterpie and a Rattata. They were a little shocked to find they turned into shinies. Ash calms them down and explains his powers. The two new friends bond with Ash. Not too long after being caught, Ash and Piku starts walking and they get ambushed by a flock of angry Spearow. Hey! What's the big idea? Piku barks at the flock getting scratched by the Spearow leader. You are in our territory. Leave now. The leader Spearow shouts, making Ash flinch. Hang on Spearow, it's a misunderstanding, we were just on our way to Viridian City. Ash said, knowing that a lot of Pokemon can sense lies. The leader calms down a bit. I'm sorry for my brashness. We were ambushed by a very rude trainer and his Squirtle a few minutes ago and we're a little grumpy. The leader said. You met Gary and his Squirtle? Ash asks. You understand us and know that? Being the leader asks, Ash explains his powers and his past. With Gary, the Spearow looking surprised and surprisingly sympathetic. I'm deeply sorry about that cruel human. It's nice to learn that not all humans are bad. The Spearow leader said. He later says, this may be a strange request, but I would find it an honor to go with you. This took Ash, Piku and the Spearow flock by surprise. But leader, who will lead us? One Spearow asked, the leader looking at that Spearow and answers, you, my brother. You have been a wonderful example to all of our flock. You are now leader of this flock. Thank you, brother. I will do my best to make you proud. Promise you'll visit. The new leader said, Ash's new Spearow nodding. Aer making it? Oh, I shall with the Pokeball. Ash and Piku starts to walk Aer saying goodbye to the Spearow flock. Aer 10 minutes of walking, a large bird-like Pokemon suddenly appears in front of Ash. It's the legendary Pokemon Ho-Oh. Child. Your aura is very powerful. The Ho-Oh says gently, Ash, Piku and Ho-Oh start to talk about many things, about his powers, his bond with the Pokemon professor, and Ash admitting to Ho-Oh about the bullies, gaining Ho-Oh's sympathy, the Pokemon giving Ash 4 of its own feathers. Ash now was in the possession of 4 rainbow wings. I know. This seems peculiar, but I would like for you to be my trainer. Ho-Oh says. This seriously shocks Ash and Piku. Are you sure? Ash asks and Ho-Oh nods. I however wish to at least not be in battle so I can not only adjust to being in the hands of a human, but to also to continue my duties. Ash nods and catches Ho-Oh. He decided to check his Pokemon's dex. Info. He chose Piku first. Piku, the tiny mouse Pokemon. Despite its small size, it can zap even adult humans. However, if it does so, it also surprises itself. This Piku is level 15 and its are Thunder Shock, Nuzzle, Sweet Kiss and Volt. Tackle Egg move. Ash was surprised Piku knows Volt Tackle, but was happy regardless, as it's a very powerful move. He decided to check Ho-Oh's dex entry. Ho-Oh, the rainbow Pokemon, it will reveal itself before a pure-hearted trainer by shining its bright rainbow-colored wings. This Ho-Oh's level is 70 and its moves are Sky Attack, Future Sight, Brave Bird, Fire Blast, Ancient Power, and Sacred Fire. Ash was puzzled, but he remembered Pokemon can learn more than 4 moves at a time. They usually can't use more than 4 moves in official battles. Piku and Ash's wounds open up, a bit more severe than they thought, but they gave each other a smile and walks to the horizon, as the journey continues. End of chapter 2. It didn't take long for Ash and Piku to get to Viridian City. They walked to the path to the Pokemon Center, but they were stopped by a police woman with blue hair. Hey kid! The woman shouted, startling Ash, and he looks nervous about the woman walking to him. What's with the Piku? Ash explains the situation they were in, minus them finding and catching Ho-Oh, and he shows the woman his Pokédex. I'm Dexter. A Pokédex programmed by Professor Oak for Pokemon trainer and junior professor, Ash Ketchum. If I am lost or stolen, I cannot be replaced. The woman was shocked by the fact Ash is a junior professor. My apologies. I am Sir Jenny. How about I take you for a ride to the Pokemon Center? Sir Jenny OERS. Ash nods and reveals another bit of info thanks to Dexter. Please note that Ash Ketchum is on the autism spectrum with Asperger syndrome. Sir Jenny was shocked again, but nods. Thank you for letting me know. Now let's go, Jenny said, the 2 people and the little Piku riding to the Pokemon Center. Jenny riding inside of the center. Sir Jenny, there's a parking lot outside. A pink-haired nurse said in annoyance. Sorry, but it's a Pokemon emergency, Nurse Joy. Sir Jenny said, explaining the situation. The nurse checks Piku. It's less severe than I thought. Don't worry, I'll heal your Pokemon. Nurse Joy said with a smile. Ash hands her his other Pokemon and egg. And asks, can they have a checkup while you're at it, please? The nurse smiles and answers, of course I can. During the waiting process, Ash called his old friend from Professor Oak Pokemon Summer Camp. He lives in Unova and was able to get his contact info. He had the girl's contact information as well, but they moved about 5 years ago and changed their contact info. Yes, it's Serena, but I'm leaving the dude's identity a surprise and hadn't heard from her since. The two talked and Ash even sent him one of the rainbow wings to him. As a present, his friend was obviously surprised, but very happy to have the GI. The call ended and he decided to call Professor Oak. Before he could, Nurse Joy came over. Ash, all of your Pokemon are fully healed. Nurse Joy said, continuing with a nervous. I was also surprised you have. Ash nods shyly and whispers, don't tell anyone please. I kinda want it to be a surprise until I'm ready for the public to know. Nurse Joy nods in understanding. Ash decided to check the dex entries of his other Pokemon. Caterpie, the worm Pokemon. If you touch the feeler on top of its head, it will release a horrible stink to protect itself. This Caterpie is level 2 and its moves are Tackle, String Shot, Bug Bite, and Electrowave. Ash was surprised at this. I remember Caterpie saying that he met someone that taught him special moves. Those must be it. Ash thought and he moved to Rattatta's entry. Rattata, the mouse Pokemon. It eats everything. Wherever food is available, it will settle down and produce offspring continuously. This Rattata is level 12 and its moves are Quick Attack, Thief, Tail Whip, Iron Tail, Double Team, and Bite. Ash finally went to Spearo's dex entry. Spearow, the tiny bird Pokemon. Very protective of its territory, it flaps its short wings busily to dart around at high speed. This Spearow is level 15 and knows the moves Quick Attack, Double Team, Drill Run, Aerial Ace, Steel Wing, and Razor Wind Egg move. Ash was shocked at Spearow's move set, but remembered it was a leader, so it had to train hard and maybe it encountered some random TMS or TRS along the way. He called Professor Oak. Ash, hello, I'm glad to see you called. And in Viridian City. That was rather quick. Professor Oak greeted, Ash nodding. Oak continues with. Now Gary made a bet for $1 million that he thinks you couldn't catch a single Pokemon before coming to Viridian City. Well, you just became a rich man, Professor. I caught 4. Ash replied, seeing Professor Oak jumping around in joy. So, what are the Pokemon? He then asks. Calming down, Ash replies with, well, 3 were pretty basic, a Caterpie, Rattata and Spearow. As for the 4th, well, I'll send you my present to you to have a clue. Oak had a look of confusion and sends Rattata to Professor Oak. I have Rattata holding a small pad of Pokemon food recipes and your present. Ash answers, seeing Oak reveal the new shiny Rattata holding a notepad with the recipes and a rainbow wing. He looks at the feather in shock. You mean? Why, you have? Oak started and Ash then answers, don't tell anyone yet. I'm only trusting certain people with that info until I'm ready for the world to know. She said she wants to continue her duties a little while longer, so I can't send her. Oh, and she wants to use female pronouns so it's easier, even though Ho-Oh is genderless. Anyways, I want you to have that rainbow wing. Oak then temporarily faints, but it took him about 20 seconds to start jumping around in joy again, clearly happy with the GI. Ash hangs up when Oak mentions his pizza was here. He sure hasn't changed. Ash thought, seeing an orange-haired girl come in with a panicked look on her face. Nurse, Meister, you and Starmie are hurt? the girl said, handing Nurse Joy 2 Pokeballs, most likely having the previously mentioned Pokemon. Alright, I'll do what I can, Nurse Joy said, putting the 2 Pokeballs in the healing machine. It shouldn't take long, the nurse said with a smile. The girl sighs in relief. Ash wanders around the Pokemon Center and sees a wanted poster with 2 people on it, one woman with long magenta hair and the other a man with shoulder-length blue hair, holding a rose. The girl sees Ash and looks a bit annoyed. "Hey kid, what are you doing?" the girl asked, Ash turning around and saying, "I just saw this poster and wanted a better look," he replied, and the girl shakes her head and says, "No, you're blocking the vending machine." Ash notices that and steps aside. Sorry," he said shyly. He wasn't used to talking to a lot of people around his own age. The girl gets a can of lemonade from it. "You got preoccupied with the wanted poster?" she then asked. Ash nods and says, "I don't know why they're wanted. Some posters have a small print for what they're wanted for. This one doesn't." He was right. The girl looks a bit more understanding and says, "Hey, you're right." "Oh, I'm Misty." Ash nods at Misty and mumbles, I am Ash." His Piku nuzzling him, making sure it doesn't use the move nuzzle. "Aw, that little Piku is so cute." Misty squeals, causing Ash to flinch and cover his ears, making Misty puzzled. "Ma'am, please don't yell or squeal at that boy. He has autism." Nurse Joy said, making Misty feel a bit guilty. "Hey, I'm sorry, Ash." Misty said. Luckily, Ash calmed down quickly and whispers, "It's okay. Piku still nuzzling." "Thank you for complimenting my Piku," Ash said, a bit more audible. Then out of the blue, 2 people break in through the window, and Akans and KOing, terrorizing the place. "Piku, thunder shock them." Ash orders, Piku obeys, hitting the Akans and KOing. "Hey, what's the big idea?" Suddenly a Meowth came out. "You ain't gonna beat us, ya little pipsqueak," the Meowth said in the human tongue. "A talking Meowth," Misty shouted, making Ash flinch again, but he shakes it quickly. The 2 people from the wanted poster appear and they say some sort of motto. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all people within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. Jesse. James. Team Rocket, blast O in the speed of light. Surrender now, or prepare to fight. Meowth. That's right. Team Rocket, Ash asked. Nurse Joy approaches and says, "They're from a criminal organization to try to steal, abuse and sell Pokemon on the black market." Ash glares at Team Rocket and says, "Don't you dare pull anything here, or you're gonna regret it." But the team burst into a fit of laughter. "Oh really, you and what army?" James taunts. Ash proceeds to throw out his Spearow and Rattata and orders them to use double team, to which they do. "This twerp has 3 shiny Pokemon. Those are definitely worth stealing," Jesse said with a smirk. Piku joins Rattata, Spearow, and their new clones. Piku, Thundershock, Spearow, half use Drill Peck, other half use Razor Wind, and Rattata, half Quick Attack and other half Bite. They all obey, with Piku finishing them with his new move, Thunderbolt, KOing. Using smoke screen out of reflex, causing the building to explode. Ash making sure to put all of his Pokemon in their Pokeballs, even Piku, just until the explosion died down. When it cleared, Team Rocket were gone. Ash and Misty headed out of Viridian City, on their way to Pewter City, the Nurse Joy telling the Pewter City's Nurse Joy about the incident. What will happen this fiasco as the journey continues. End of Chapter 3. Ash and Misty arrive in middle of Viridian Forest and Ash takes out his basic Pokemon, Ho-Oh in the middle of her duties and Misty lets out a shrill shriek. Ash is clearly uncomfortable with it, holding his head in pain from Misty's scream. "Ow, Misty, why did you scream?" Ash asks. "Get that away from me!" Misty exclaims, pointing at Caterpie, who was inching to Misty. "Oh, Caterpie, he just wants to be your friend though," Ash says, with a smile. "Ash, put that nasty thing in its Pokeball. Bugs are one of the 3 most disgusting things in the world," Misty demands in fear. "Aside from that attitude of yours, what are the other 2?" Ash asks in a retort. "Carrots, peppers and bugs. Everyone has something they don't like and I don't like bugs," Misty shouts, making Ash flinch again. "I like carrots, peppers and bugs. But I don't like is the way you're hurting Caterpie's feelings by calling it disgusting," Ash replied. Ash then took a deep breath and says, "Come on guys, let's go without her." His Pokemon following suit. Hey, what about the bugs?" Misty called out, Ash ignoring her, frustrated that she insulted his Pokemon. 2 hours later, he catches a Pidgey and a Farfetch'd, surprised the later was here. He deposits his Rattata and Spearow with the help of his Pokédex and retrieved his new 2 bird Pokemon. Pidgey, the tiny bird Pokemon. Very docile. If attacked, it will kick up sand to protect itself rather than fight back. This Pidgey is level 15. And its moves are Twister, Quick Attack, Aerial Ace, Air/Egg Move, Brave Bird Egg Move, and Hurricane Egg Move. Ash went to Farfetch'd's entry. Farfetch'd, the wild duck Pokemon. The sprig of green onions it holds is its weapon. It is used much like a metal sword. This Farfetch'd is level 43 and has the moves Fury Cutter, Slash, Aerial Ace, Leaf Blade, Night/Egg Move and Sky Attack Egg Move. Ash learned that Farfetch'd was bred and trained by a famous breeder, and had to run away since his trainer died and his cousin tried to kill him. For literally dinner. He comforted his new friend, happy he has a strong member on the team. He then transferred over Farfetch'd to Professor Oak. He later found a Weedle, but he sensed a human was near him, so he caught the little bug Pokemon quickly, took his new Weedle's Pokeball, and goes but the trainer ambushes him. "Don't you leave. I am Samurai." "Are you from Pallet Town?" the trainer said loudly, making Ash flinch, but nods. "Why yeah, but can you not yell or talk that loud please?" Ash said, Samurai noticing that, and calms down. And says in a normal tone, "Sorry, but may we have a Pokemon battle? I was defeated by 3 trainers from Pallet Town and they said the last one was the weakest." Ash nods and lets his Piku out while he sends out a Pinsir. "That poor Pinsir. It looks a bit malnourished and low level." Piku quickly ended it with Thunderbolt. Samurai let out a Metapod, which Piku also defeated with this time Volt Tackle. "Wow. You're really good." Maybe they were saying the opposite about you, kid. Samurai commented. Ash later explained about his autism and even gave him some tips about Pokemon care and how to better his pincer's technique and make it a bit more sturdy. Samurai was grateful. You know, I sometimes think I'm also autistic. I always loved warriors, samurais were obviously my favorite. I also love bug Pokemon. One day, I want to be the best bug trainer and the best samurai. While I can stand most loud noises, some sights like fire scares me very much. I'm glad I know someone who understands me a little. Ash said with a smile. I never was diagnosed, but I do have an appointment for it, and if I am well, that's okay. You know why? 'Cause I met you. You're a terrific trainer and your Pokemon trust you very much. They both talked a bit more about Pokemon and they head to the main road to Pewter City. I'll do my best to learn more about autism so I can help others and even myself. Samurai said, bidding Ash a farewell. Ash was happy he made another friend other than his Pokemon and that Unovian boy who understands him. He walks thinking about strategies on how to tackle the Pewter City gym. Will he be able to beat the gyms? Well, we'll find out as the journey continues. End of chapter 4. Ash and his Pokemon has finally arrived in Pewter City. Ash looks at the horizon while standing on a stone on the CLI. There it is, Piku. Pewter City. Ash breathed. Piku looked in awe. Hey Ash. Ash heard that familiar voice and internally screamed. It was Misty carrying a burnt bike and shouts. Why did you leave me behind? Thanks to you leaving me, a Voltorb attacked me and broke my bike. Ash flinches, but is now getting a bit used to Misty's screams and yells. He turns to her. You made fun of Caterpie and I didn't ask you to travel with me. I have a right to travel alone. Ash was right. He never objected before Misty insulting Caterpie because she didn't do anything annoying or bad yet. Hey! Quit squabbling. And you're standing on the merchandise, kid. A male husky voice called out. The two see a tanned man in a red beanie, a beard, a tank top and jeans. Sorry sir. I didn't know I was doing that. Ash apologizes to the man, stepping the stone. You sell rocks? Misty asked. Pewter City souvenirs. Wanna buy some? The man confirmed. Ash shook his head and says. No thank you. Can you help me and Piku to the Pokemon Center though? The man nods and replies sure. By the way, the name's Flint. Oh, and standing on merchandise has a $2 fee, but you clearly have never been here and didn't know it was my product, so you don't have to pay. Follow me. They arrive in the Pokemon Center. Ash, having his Pokemon healed, sees the Pokemon Regional Championship poster and has a smile. If I recall, Pewter City has a rock-type gym. Ash says to himself. You're correct. Flint says, startling Ash. He apologizes, to which Ash forgives him, for which Flint continues with. No offense, but I doubt that little Piku of yours will beat Brock and his Pokemon. Ash looks a bit offended and says that's why before I challenge it, I'm going to train. Flint nods, saying that's a smart move, but he still has his doubts. Ash's Pokemon are healed, he immediately gets to training Piku and Pidgey, having Piku learn Dig, Double Team, Iron Tail, and Rain Dance, while Pidgey learning Steel Wing, Double Team, and Sky Attack. Still thankful Pokemon can learn any amount of moves, but doesn't object to the certain amount of moves used in official battles. Aer all, no one likes a cheater. While he was at it, he did some training with Caterpie, making special strategies he can use with String Shot and Electrowave, and some training with Farfetch'd, having him learn agility. Aer 4 hours of training, they head to the forest, as the gym was closed for the night now. Ash wanted to find some interesting Pokemon or other sights, and he finds a house. He normally wouldn't spy, but he was curious and lo and behold, it was Brock, the Pewter City gym leader, acting like a mother to 10 kids, helping a girl with a ripped skirt. I think those are his siblings. Man, he's really good at multitasking. Having to take care of 10 kids and run a gym, that has to be tiring. Ash thought with a look of sympathy on his face. He headed back to the Poke Center and rested. The next morning, he heads to the gym. So, you're a new challenger, I see, Brock said, sitting in what made Ash thought was similar to a throne. Ash nods. Brock looks at the Piku behind him in surprise. A shiny Piku, those are rare. While Piku is in its cutest stage, it can't win. Brock said. Ash nearly got mad, but quickly calmed himself down. You should never underestimate someone, Ash warned calmly. Brock nodding. The referee came in and announced the battle between Brock, the gym leader, and Ash, the challenger, shall begin. Both sides may only use 2 Pokemon each. The battle will continue until all of the Pokemon on one side are unable. Only the challenger may substitute Pokemon. Battle begin. Brock sends out Goetud and Ash sends out Pidgey. Brock was surprised that Pidgey was shiny, but he also had a look of disappointment. Don't you know that flying types aren't the best against rock types? Yes, I do, but a bird like Pokemon like my Pidgey can learn this strategy. Pidgey, go for combo. DTSW45. Ash ordered. The Pidgey nods and uses double team, making multiple copies. Goedyub kept using Rock Slide, but they keep missing. Then Goedyud gets hit with Steel Wing and Sky Attack, knocking it out. Goedyud is unable to battle. Pidgey wins. The referee called. Brock had a shocked look on his face, and both trainers called back their Pokemon. Brock sends out Onix and Ash sends out Piku. Piku, combo der. Ash said, and Piku uses double team. Onix tries to use bind, but only hits 2 of the double teams and the rest uses dig. The real Piku hits Onix with dig and uses Iron Tail and hits the final blow. Onix is unable to battle. Piku is the winner and the victory goes to Ash, the challenger. Brock was clearly in shock. He lost to a Pidgey and a Piku. Ash was petting and congratulating his Pokemon. I won't lie, Ash, I'm impressed. You trained you Pokemon very well, Brock said. Ash blushes in modesty. I try. You certainly earned this. The Boulder Badge. Brock hands Ash the badge along with a TM and a TR. The TM is Rock Slide and the TR is Stone Edge. Brock explained. Ash nods and takes the items and money. The two headed to the Pokemon Center. Ash, not knowing Misty, saw that match and she was just as surprised as Brock was. However, when Ash went outside, being alone with only his Pokemon, they ran into Gary. Well, if it isn't Ashy boy, I thought you gave up and ran away. For home, Gary taunted, making Ash uncomfortable while his Piku and Pidgey glared at him. A shiny Pidgey, ha! No matter, let's have a double battle. Gary demands, throwing out a Wartortle and Raticate. Ash took out his Pokédex. Wartortle, the turtle Pokémon and the evolved form of Squirtle. The tail is covered with a rich fur. It stores air in the fur before taking extended dives underwater. Ash went to Raticate. Raticate, the mouse Pokémon and the evolved form of Rattata. Its hind feet are webbed. They act as flippers, so it can swim in rivers and hunt for prey. Ash sighs and mutters, let's get this over with. Piku and Pidgey creams Wartortle and Raticate with Sky Attack and Thunderbolt, and now they evolved into Pikachu and Pidgeotto. Ash was excited. Pikachu, the mouse Pokémon and the evolved form of Piku. When several of these Pokémon gather, their electricity could build and cause lightning storms. This Pikachu is level 28 and has the moves Thunderbolt, Iron Tail, Electro Ball, Volt Tackle, Dig, Double Team, Quick Attack, Brick Break, Thunder Punch, Thunder Wave, Protect and Serve. Ash was surprised at Serve. Maybe my Pokédex glitched. He went to Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto, the bird Pokémon and the evolved form of Pidgey. This Pokémon is full of vitality. It constantly flies around its large territory in search of prey. This Pidgeotto is now level 23 and has the moves Sky Attack, Twister, Quick Attack, Aerial Ace, Air Slash, Brave Bird, Hurricane, Roost, Heat Wave and U-Turn. Gary was shocked and ticked. He stomped to the Pokémon Center in anger. Brock and Misty saw the whole battle and was also shocked. About Ash's Pokémon, Flint went over, taking his beanie and his beard, revealing to be fake. My father, Brock said in anger. So, he's a good-for-nothing father who left town and never came back? Ash asked, secretly reading Brock's mind. Flint and Brock talked things out and Brock bombarded Flint with the things he needs to learn. While that was happening, he sent Ho-Oh over to Professor Oak, who was more comfortable being around the Kanto region, as long as she can still fulfill her duties. Luckily, Oak was very understanding and agreed to the terms. He even contacted his Unovian friend. We see he has dirty blonde hair with a bit of a green shade, the same gray-blue eyes as one of Ash's own eyes, and wearing a dark purple shirt. His name was Trip. And was relieved Ash was doing okay. So you really want to both Brock and Gary, he asks. Ash nods and shows his boulder badge. And the battle with Gary made Piku into a Pikachu and Pidgey into Pidgeotto. He adds, petting his Pikachu. That's awesome, Ash. I wish my mom would let me on a journey. I'm already 10 and she won't let me. Trip complained with a bit of a pout. Don't worry, someday, we'll travel together, right? Ash said. Trip smiles and says, of course, I gotta go, call me when you get to Cerulean. And the call then ends. Ash walks down the path to Empty Moon and he notices Brock is following him, and Brock asks, Ash, is it okay if I travel with you? This took Ash by surprise, the thought about it for a bit, and asks why. Brock explains that he can be of help to Ash, his dream of becoming a Pokemon breeder, and that he wants to see the world. Ash thinks about it. He hadn't told Brock about his autism and he didn't want to be bullied for it. Then again, Brock has 10 brothers and sisters. Maybe he understands and maybe he can help Ash gain confidence. Ash then nods and explains that he has Asperger's. Brock was very understanding. 2 of his siblings are actually on the autistic spectrum, so he knows how to help in any way. Ash finally says, I don't mind you joining. Brock smiles and says, don't worry, you can trust me. By the way, who's that orange-haired girl that keeps following you? Ash turns to see Misty and he looks a little annoyed. You still have to pay for my bike, Ash Ketchum. Ash covered his ears from Misty's yell and Brock tries to calm her down. She explains the incident where leaving her, a Volturb attacked and destroyed her bike. So he leaves, who never asked to travel with you, and a Volturb, who doesn't belong to him, attacks you and had your bike destroyed, and you're blaming him, Brock asked in disgust. You should have been more careful with those Pokemon. They're known to explode. Brock scolded. Misty shouts in her head, Ash reading her mind, and he becomes heartbroken when he hears it's not my fault, he's an idiotic brat. Ash then walks on the verge of tears, but quickly wipes them. Will he prove everyone who doubts him wrong? Will he be good enough? We'll find out soon enough. As the journey continues. End of chapter 5. Ash, Brock, and Misty make their way to MT Moon, Misty gushing about how romantic it sounds while Ash is reading a book about evolutionary stones. On the chapter on the moonstone, suddenly, his egg starts moving and it hatches into a shiny female Eevee. Ash holds his new Eevee as it nuzzles him. Eevee, the evolution Pokemon. Thanks to its unstable genetic makeup, this special Pokemon conceals many different possible evolutions. This Eevee is level 1 and knows the moves Helping Hand, Tackle, Tail Whip, and Double Kick Egg move. Aw, it's so cute. Misty squealed. Eevee looks up at Ash cutely. Are you my papa? The little Eevee asks in its Pokemon tongue, Ash nodding, hugging his new friend. Hey Ash, you wanna trade that Eevee for my Storie or Starmie? Misty asks. No way. I just hatched Eevee. She was a GI from Professor Oak. Ash said. She? Misty asked. You can tell by the pattern on the top of their tail. From above, female. Eevee's tails kinda look like a flower, Brock explains. Suddenly, a cry for help is heard and they encounter a man in a lab coat. Ash had Pikachu use Thunderbolt on the Zubat and he catches one of them, seeing Brock sneak a catch while Misty and the Zubat's victim didn't see him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They said man's best friend is a Pokemon. With you, it's true. The man exclaimed, continuing saying. Poetry and happily saving I'm alive. I'm Alienov. Ash nods when he asks if he mentioned if he was grateful. He introduced himself as Seymour. The group finds the cave covered in lights, seeing the Pokemon are confused. Paras planted their mushrooms everywhere and a shiny Sandshrew being dehydrated, Ash sharing his canteen with the Sandshrew. Sandshrew being grateful, joins Ash's team. Ash transfers Zubat, Rattata, and Spearow and retrieved Weedle. The poor things. Who would do this? Ash said to himself, petting his new friend. Ash sees a shiny Clea holding a moonstone and a normal colored Clefairy with the little Clea. Ash greets them with a kind smile and suddenly, Team Rocket ambushes them. Ash has Caterpie and Weedle tie them in string shot, which causes them to evolve into Metapod and Kakuna. Metapod, the cocoon Pokemon and the evolved form of Caterpie. Inside the shell, it is so and weak as it prepares to evolve. It stays motionless in the shell. This metapod is now level 9 and knows the moves Tackle, Harden, String Shot, Electrowave and Bug Bite. A 4. Kakuna, the cocoon Pokemon and the evolved form of Weedle. Able to move only slightly. When endangered, it may stick out its stinger and poison its enemy. This Kakuna is level 9 and knows the moves Poison, Sting, String Shot, Bug Bite, and Electrowave. Brock brings out his Zubat to help with Ekans, who had escaped String Shot. They had Team Rocket blasting O, however, Meowth snuck O, chasing the Clea and Clefairy, Pikachu following them and attacks them, making Meowth blast O. A while later, around sundown, Ash is feeding his Pokemon his own Pokemon food. Brock has his own homemade Pokemon food he made and is feeding his new Zubat with it. Seymour impressed with Brock's recipe, he then tries Ash's, which is just as good. Misty tries them as well, but well, the Pokemon like Pokemon food more. Ash had found a sad Iglaibu nearby and spoke to it. He learned that Iglaibu was taken in by a trainer from the soon-to-be Kaz gym in a place called Dark City. And learned Bounce, Hyper Voice, and Heal Bell, but she wasn't a strong battler and her trainer abandoned her. Ash was sympathetic, so he decided to let Iglaibu join and scanned her. Iglaibu, the balloon Pokemon. It's always practicing its singing because it wants to improve. Even when it's asleep, it keeps singing in its dreams. This Iglaibu is level 17 and knows the moves Copycat, Charm, Sing, Sweet Kiss, Pound, Defense, Curl, Bounce, Heal Bell, Hyper Voice, Wish Egg Move, Perish Song Egg Move, Heal Pulse Egg Move, and Present Egg Move. Brock tries to have Ash's Pokemon try his food, but they turn away, only wanted to have Ash's recipe. Sorry Brock. They prefer my food. Ash apologizes, Brock tries it and is very impressed. I can see why Ash. This is high quality. Did you make it? Ash blushes in modesty and says I like Pokemon a lot, so I try to make good Pokemon food for them. Brock smiles. AMD replies well, it's excellent. Did you add Oran berries to this batch? Ash nods and says they're really tasty and they help with Pokemon's health and stamina. I thought it would be a good idea. Seymour agrees, the little Clea tries Ash's food and she loves it, eating a lot more. Ash smiles kindly. The Clea and Clefairy takes them to another cave and shows them a huge boulder. Wow! Is that a giant moonstone? Ash breathed, the Clea nodded and placed the moonstone fragment around the ring surrounding the moonstone boulder. Many Clefairy and Clea come out and dances around the moonstones. They learn that they're praying to the moonstone. Team Rocket ambushes them yet again. This is getting old real fast. Ash thinks to himself. Pikachu, get them. Ash shouts, Brock letting out his Onix to help, but they got the moon stones thanks to KOing's smoke screen distracting everyone. Onix, go underground to find Team Rocket. Ash said. Brock was shocked, Onix as well, but nods and obeys. The others went the other way and Seymour, the Clefairy, and the Clea goes down the hole that Onix made. The gang gets to Team Rocket and so FO the Clea and Clefairy. What's with all of this? Meowth questions. the Clea and Clefairy. Starts to use metronome, Seymour, Brock, Misty, and Team Rocket. Following the fingers. Ash knows full well on the move and how random it is. Pikachu, use Protect. Pikachu obeys, a force field goes over Pikachu, Eevee, and Ash. Suddenly, some of the Clea and Clefairy use Explosion, thanks to metronome while other Hyper Beam. Team Rocket blasts O again. Suddenly, the Moonstone falls everywhere, making some Clefairy evolve into Clefable. Seymour them says I'm gonna stay with the Clefairy, Clea and Clefable. It's been my dream to find the Moonstone boulder. One day, I'll travel TP the stars with them. They group smiles and Brock says be sure to send us a postcard. The shiny Clea nuzzles against Ash's leg. Ash looks confused. What's wrong Clea he asks and Seymour laughs. I think the little one wants to go with you Ash. Ash looks at Clea. What do you say Clea wanna come with us? Clea nods and Ash catches Clea. Clea, the star-shaped Pokemon. Its silhouette is like a star. It is believed to arrive riding on shooting stars. This Clea is level 12 and knows the moves Metronome, Copycat, Disarming Voice, Sweet Kiss, and Wish Egg. Move. In the morning, they arrive to a sign that reads Cerulean City with an arrow pointing to the road along with something scribbled at the bottom. Gary was here. Ash is a loser. Ash feels bad and walks in the dirt of Cerulean City. Will he prove Gary wrong? What will happen next? As the journey continues. End of chapter 6. As Ash and the gang head closer to Cerulean City, Misty looks more nervous. Wait guys, why go to Cerulean City? It's a bad idea. Misty exclaims. Ash is clearly confused. AMD asks why. The city has terrible Pokemon and is boring. Misty said. But Cerulean has a gym. I'm traveling around to collect badges. Ash says. How about Vermilion City? It's beautiful, has a great harbor, a lot of great Pokemon and a gym. Misty says, trying to persuade Ash and Brock. Okay. We'll go. Ash says. Really? Misty says, clearly hopeful. AER Cerulean City. Ash replies, Misty looks heartbroken. AER a while, Misty wander from the group and Brock and Ash see a shop crowded with citizens and police. What's going on? Brock asked. They later learn the shop was robbed. Jenny thought that Brock and Ash were the burglars, but were quickly exonerated. What was stolen? Ash asked. Weirdly enough, a giant vacuum and hose. No money, no TMS, or TRS, nothing. Jenny explained. The two went their separate ways as Brock had to leave and get supplies. They agreed to meet up later. AER Ash's match. AER a while, Ash, Pikachu, and Eevee arrive at the Cerulean gym. They see three beautiful women doing a synchronized swimming show. The crowd was too big for Ash, so he went to the hallway. AER a while, the woman finds Ash. Excuse me, but we aren't interested in an interview. One of them said. I'm here for a gym battle. Ash said, the three understanding, but they decline. Ash was shocked. We got beaten by 3 trainers from Pallet Town a while ago and had to rush our Pokemon to the Pokemon Center. One of them said. We only have this. Another said, throwing out a Goldeen from its Pokeball. It only knows Horn Attack and if it evolved into Seeking, then it would put up a better fight," she said, returning Goldine at its ball. "One of them gets a shiny seal, who has the badge on its tongue. The blonde woman, Daisy, cleans the badge and shows it to Ash. 'You wanted the badge, right, here you go then,' Daisy says. Ash was clearly shocked. 'Thank you, but I would rather earn my badges,' Ash said politely. Daisy then said, 'Come on. A badge is a badge. Just take it.' Ash was just about to object when suddenly, 'Hold it!' shouted Misty, who had just arrived. 'I knew it. These three are your sisters, aren't they, Misty?' Ash said, Misty nodding. 'I'm the fourth sensational sister. There's only 3 sensational sisters and 1 runt.' 'One of her sisters?' jeered. 'Looks like I'll have my battle all,' Ash said. The two get to the battlefield. 'Pikachu, be a Pika pal for me and don't fight?' Misty cheered. Pikachu snarls, which startles Misty. He he he. Looks like Pikachu won't be your Pika pal,' Ash said, snickering. Misty then says, 1-on-1. Sending out Starmie, Pikachu taking the field. Ash then takes out his Kakuna, Metapod, Pidgeotto, and Clea. 'Hey! I said 1-on-1. Misty said. 'I just want them and Eevee to watch,' Ash said, Pidgeotto helping the 4 Pokemon to the bleachers. Starmie, Swy. Pikachu, combo PABT. Pikachu uses Protect against Swy, then speeds around with agility and then uses Volt Tackle on Starmie. However, Starmie isn't backing down. Water Gun. Starmie repeatedly uses Water Gun, while Pikachu is dodging. The other 3 agrees that they got the looks, but Misty has the skills in battle. Starmie, Power Gem. Iron Tail them away. Starmie shoots out the Power Gems while Pikachu swats them back at Starmie with Iron Tail. He then ends the battle with the last Volt Tackle. Misty was shocked. 'No way.' Ash's Pokemon cheers in the bleachers, very happy their master and friends won. Daisy smiles and gives Ash the Cascade badge. However, the wall busts open with a contraption with a long hose and giant vacuum. 'What the long hose giant vacuum the thief at that store?' Ash put together. 'How right you are, little twerp,' a familiar female voice calls out. AER. Their motto, they start to power up the machine, trying to suck up everything. Kakuna and Metapod were furious and starts to evolve. The group is shocked to say the least. Ash's new green Beedrill and green-eyed Butterfree cry out in anger, attacking the trio with Pin Missile and Bug Buzz. Pikachu chips in with a Thunderbolt, destroying the machine and making Team Rocket blast again. AER the cleanup. Daisy hands Ash a TM for Dive and a TR for Waterfall, having forgotten that when giving him his badge. Brock tries to flirt with Misty's sisters. Bad idea because Misty whacks Brock on the head with a mallet, leaving Ash and the sisters stunned. Then the seal goes to Ash, nuzzling his leg. Ash was puzzled and Misty and her sisters were shocked. 'I think Seal wants to go and be your Pokemon, Ash,' Daisy said with a smile, insisting Ash have Seal, handing Ash Seal's Pokeball. Ash scans Seal. 'No fair. I want Seal. I known her more than you, Ash.' Misty whined. 'If Seal wants to be with me, I'm not going to object,' Ash said. Seal must have seen Ash use his Pokemon to save everyone and sees him worthy. Brock theorized, hearing about the incident with Team Rocket. Seal nods happily. Well, Seal, welcome to the team. Ash said with kindness. He sends Seal to Professor Oak due to him having 6 Pokemon already. The group now heads up to the next town, as the journey continues. End of Chapter 7.